I'm honored to be featured in Construction Dive on racism in the construction industry. The construction industry is an amazing industry, amazing people. One of the first industries that I entered into after my career as a professional first responder when I went into business. So I have amazing relationships in construction, love the people. It is the industry that builds America. Our roads, our bridges, our houses, you name it, construction does it, and just a wonderful group of people. In this article, we talked about racism, and we talked about the elephant in the room that people are afraid to address. It's that hot topic item, and it's one of those items that if you are a leader, you have to address today, because no longer can you stay silent and let these things just happen. So one of the things I talked about with the reporter who created this amazing series of different people that he interviewed, we talked for about 2 hours, and I shared with one, what's the deal on racism? Why are we seeing so much today? It always existed, okay? It was just covered up. It wasn't something brought to the forefront. Understand with media, understand with news how it works, that there are certain points, talking points they call them, certain buzzwords that are the thing of the time. If you wonder why like this year is a year of racism and systemic racism talk, it's the talking point for 2020, okay? It's been around for years in America. We had Abraham Lincoln, then we still had kids with the busing segregation, and we've had different things in corporate settings where people are excluded from jobs, they're not paid high enough, they're rejected because they have a misdemeanor or a felony or different things like that when they were born into an environment that was very challenging in the first place, where perhaps they had post-traumatic stress years and years ago as a result of having to have a gun on themselves at 14, 15 years old. These are the things that I saw as a paramedic in urban environments. I saw the challenges that our current public policy and lack thereof creates for these people, and then lands them into jail or lands them into different situations. So racism is a challenging thing because it's always been there. It's always been there. It's been in the shadow. It's been at the forefront, and it's been covered up in a lot of ways because we're a country that is this melting pot, and this melting pot is the land of rhetoric. It's the land that the American dream, anybody can have it. You can work hard, you can achieve, you can do all these different things. We are the kings of rhetoric in the world. And unfortunately, when rhetoric gets smashed, then you have reality. So reality is the world that I live in. Rhetoric is the world that a lot of people choose to live in because it paints the rosier picture. Reality is the world of leadership. It's the place where we come to drive change. So these issues have been going on. They've been going on for quite some time. And now there's a story about it, talking about it publicly, openly, and bringing good people together for different perspectives on how to address this elephant in the room to have safe cultures. So let's talk about why you should not tolerate racism in the construction industry or any industry for that matter. One, there should be a zero tolerance policy. You just don't tolerate it. If somebody is being racist, they're being disrespectful, or this is viewed as a legitimate hate crime, there needs to be zero tolerance. So now let's talk about why racism is a bad deal for your business and what you need to do. One, racism, zero tolerance today. Just do not tolerate it. If you have employees who are racist, who are having issues, you can talk to them, you can counsel them. If it's not at that level where it's already perceived as a hate crime, it's directed towards somebody, you can talk with them and try to coach them through thinking about why they believe what they believe, why they're being that way to somebody, and is this really the highest version of themselves? Is this really who you want to be? And making it clear that if you continue this way, I have to fire you. There's no other choice. This is not a culture that we condone racism. It's not even an option for us to go there. So think about some of the words that you just said to somebody. Think about some of the things, whatever. Is a zero tolerance policy. If I hear this again, you will be fired. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the desire to change has to come from you. No amount of programming can change people's hearts, can change their heart and mind. Now, programming, when we talk about should people have to take anti-bias training and different things like that, it's a very challenging topic. It's a very challenging conversation right now. One is, yes, people should be required to take personal and professional development training. When we're talking about racism, we're talking more about changing the person than we are talking about changing the profession. People who are racist for numerous reasons. They are racist because we live in a society that promotes the white male race more than other races out there. We are also living in a society where, let's just be pragmatic about this for a second, depending on the research and statistics, 60 to 70% of Americans are white. So then you have a large percentage. Now contrast that in your mind for a second, be open with me, to think about Asia. If you are in a country like Vietnam, most of the people are Vietnamese. So when you're walking around Vietnam, you see more people who are Vietnamese. Well, is there racism? Is there this and that going on? It's about perspective. So understand that America is a white country by default, by the people who came here, who had children here, who procreated, who had the next generation here, and all of that. And through immigration, we've had more and more people coming in to America, creating this melting pot. Now, what that means is this: inherently, people will have different perceptions. They will favor perhaps somebody who looks more like them than the other person. We know this in sales. People buy from people they know, like, and trust, and who also resemble some of the same values, behaviors, and attributes as themselves. It's human psychology, psychology 101. So that makes it challenging when you say, let's put these programs in place, let's tell everybody that they're being racist, and let's change the world all of a sudden tomorrow. It doesn't work that way, and that's a good way to actually alienate people. So you have to be strategic in who you're bringing in to teach a program. You have to make sure that that person does not have an agenda, because there are also a lot of people out there using this program right now through the government, through different requirements of having anti-bias training to promote specific agendas. So you have to be careful with that, because promoting specific agendas, as we have a lot of special interest groups and a lot of lobbying in America, does not mean it's always the best or most holistic information. So should you have training on anti-bias, anti-racism, all these things, just like other things? Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Why would you not do this? And why would you not create a culture where you can talk about challenging situations, whether it's racism, whether it's age discrimination, whether it's gender, whether it is whatever? Let's not be this country that we have to polarize everything, where we can't talk about this, we can't talk about that. Let's be the country that is a grown-up country, that we can talk about things, that your feelings don't get hurt all of a sudden and go out on a tweet because I said something about you or you said something about me, and now we have a million trolls trolling around. That doesn't do good for anybody. It doesn't grow anybody. It doesn't develop anybody. It's just the way we're living in right now in our tech world, where everything is so polarized. In a click of a button, you can make a lot of drama that just does not need to be there. So, should you do training? Yes, do training. Consider this a key piece of your cultural awareness, your cultural sensitivity training, your best practices, your best workplace training. Now, make sure you have a good trainer or a good speaker who comes in, who can talk about this in a holistic way and who does not alienate people, because I have been through some of these training programs, and some of these training programs are very alienating. I'm extremely open-minded. I've been around the world. I have friends from all different groups, and some of these programs are truly alienating and are very judgmental. So make sure you vet the person, ask them how they view racism, ask them about their own cultural awareness, their own understanding, what experiences they've had outside of America in different cultures and different countries, because that's very important. We're living in a multicultural, multi-generational workforce right now, where we have people from all over the world that are working with us, from all different genders, all different ages, all different backgrounds. We truly have now more people of different backgrounds together. So making sure that this is just not one specific race being the anti-racism agenda training program, and that it's truly an inclusive, how do we get along as humans here in America with different backgrounds, different beliefs, different religions, different upbringings, different. How do we get along as humans? Next, I want to talk about what you can do on a job site or in your office environment. Do an audit. When you look around at people and they are going around and having lunch, do they sit by themselves the whole time? Do all of the Latinos hang out in the one group with all the Latinos, and then the black workers are there and the white workers are over there, and nobody's eating lunch together? Well, you have a problem. Understand that you can create connection, you can create community, you can create different tabletop exercises, you can have lunches on the job site. You can bring people together through food. That's what Anthony Bourdain did. He traveled the world, different communities, different cultures, different foods, and he brought people together through food. I love doing this. I'm a big fan of lunch meetings. I do it all the time. And food brings us together. It's where we drop our guard. It's what I learned in the fire department. You could be working with people that you really don't care for in one fire station, but come lunchtime, you're all best friends. Y'all get along. Y'all drop the guard. You all drop you let the shit go. Food, I'm telling you, it changes people's lives. And food's damn good. So do your audit around the lunchtime, around times when people could be hanging out, and if they're not, how do you encourage them to share? A way to do this through food is having a potluck. Having somebody come in and say, this is my chicken from my family, this is my salad from my family, this is my barbecue recipe from my family, this is my pasta as an Italian from my family. You name it. Food can teach people, it can break down things. Talk about the region where it's from. Talk about the things that went into the food, the different spices, the recipes, all these different things like that. Who touches the food? Think about your supply chain. Who actually made the spices? Where did the spice come from? Maybe India, maybe this. Talk about Indian culture. You get the point. You're facilitating a conversation to talk about things, to open people's minds, to open their hearts, and to start changing their perspective, where they want to get curious and come to a video like this, or they want to go to a magazine and start reading and go, wow, I didn't think that the world was like that. Oh, wow, I haven't left the US. Maybe it's time for me to get out of here for a month and go travel. As a facilitative leader, you're planting the seed for growth. I want you to say that. I'm planting the seed for growth for your people. It's very important. And lastly, racism. It's horrible for your bottom line, okay? It's horrible for your bottom line. Here's why. Injuries happen, accidents happen, communication just stops. Communication is essential. It's critical to any good business out there today. Communication keeps your business going, it keeps things flowing, and it also creates a safe work environment. If people don't feel that they can trust you or the management team or somebody else because there's a perceived sense of racism, you stand the risk for injuries, accidents, and even death. So be mindful in your communication and how people feel. Can they open up? Remember, communication is a two-way street. You can put out bulletins all day long. You can put out, don't say this, don't do that, we'll fire you, we'll do this, we'll do that. Did you create an exchange? Did you even go with the basic principle of communication that understands that when you send something out, somebody has to receive it in their mind, they have to process it in the brain, and then they have to be able to come back and tell you, yeah, I understand this, or this is how I feel about this. If you're not there with your culture, hire me as a consultant, bring me in, let's talk about that, because it's so important, because you have to get to that level where you're talking about these tough things. And if you don't, have fun being on the 5 o'clock news. Don't be there, don't be that business. A lot of these things can change. Understand it's complex, understand we're living in a very polarized time, but that these issues have been going on. We are creating segregation now with the wealth gap. We're creating segregation as well with the high-speed rail. Quite frankly, that train system will be designed so wealthy people, largely foreign investors, can live in San Francisco, and the service class can live in Fresno, and that train will be built for that purpose, because that's the reality from an economic standpoint, from a system standpoint. So that project is, in a sense, what the busing segregation was years ago. It just looks a little bit better, it looks cleaner, it's more politically correct, but we're doing the same thing. We don't learn, people just don't learn. They keep doing the same stupid stuff over and over again. So don't be that company, don't be complicit in that. Really start thinking about the projects you're building, the people that are building them, and how you can have the best company culture out there today. I have confidence that you can do it, and if you learn something, share a comment, let me know what you learned, and get out there, go make the best culture you can, because people are truly amazing. When they feel loved, when they feel nurtured, when they feel safe, you have outstanding results, you have outstanding ideas, and you have outstanding projects that can truly make the country innovative, in a country where people go, wow, this is America. This is the place that I want to call home and that I'm proud to call home.